Good evening, Rockdale County, and glad to have you guys joining me this evening from Conyers, Georgia. This week from Rockdale. Great to be here and great to have you. I've had a busy weekend this weekend. Went to several political rallies this weekend. We won't talk about a lot of that. We'll just say I went to political rallies and had a good time. So that's what I did. I am going to say hello to some people. But first thing I'd like to ask anybody, if there's anybody, which they're not, if there would be anybody on my personal page to go to the This Week from Rockdale page or go to the YouTube page. That way your comments will come on. I will be checking this periodically, and if anybody shows up on my personal page, I'll ask them to go over to This Week from Rockdale or I will ask them to go to YouTube, and that way they'll be able to make comments. But everyone is doing that tonight, so we've got people that are frequent flyers who know how to do things. So let's begin by saying hello to folks. Danielle Munoz, great to have you tonight, Danielle. Cheryl Moulton, great to have you, Cheryl. Voices for Rockdale, Miss Corliss Turner, great to have you. Tina Hobbs, Tina, great to have you in the house tonight. Laura Skelton, Laura, great to have you here. Charlotte Geller, great to have you here. I have the taxpayer, Mr. George Kelichek, great to have you. And George and I talked this week, and just let you guys know at some point in the next 2 weeks, George is going to be a special guest on the show, and he is going to give everybody an update on what's going on water-wise in Rockdale County. And that's a very important issue for the folks of Rockdale County. We need to know what's going on in Rockdale County with our water. You can't take water for granted. Susan, good evening, Susan. Nice to have you on the show tonight. So, guys, I mean, we can't take the water for granted. We can't take any of this for granted because and I've not talked about this, I believe, on the show before, but Angela, nice to have you on the show tonight. But where I'm from, up in West Virginia, I have a friend of mine up there named Paul, and Paul is a geologist. And Paul believes that there's contaminated water in a specific area, and actually the area that I'm from, because every person that is within a few mile area of where the home is. I don't drink the water up there, just to let you know. There has been cancer in every single home in that town. Every single home, someone has had cancer in their home. And my friend, the geologist, had said that cancer cluster is what he believes was caused by contaminated water from the coal mines. That they were some mining in that region, and there was some not so safe practices of ridding of pollutants, and the water table was contaminated in that region. And he believes that the very high rate of cancer in that area can be contributed to water. So just let you guys know that water and safe water is very important, and we'll have George coming on here talking about that here in a little bit. Lisa Lancaster. Yeah, Justin has been nominated as the best attorney in Conyers. We would like everyone to vote for him, and I can post this link if Larry says. Yes, 100% post that link about Justin. Justin is one of my favorite attorneys in Rockdale County, so I definitely think that we need to support. And actually, Justin's a friend of the show, so if we could, let's give Justin some favor out there and some votes. So, Lisa, go ahead and post that. We appreciate everything that Justin does in the community. William Campbell, nice to have you join us this evening on the show. So, guys, it's that time of night that I ask you guys to do something. I ask you to share and like the show so that people in Rockdale County can learn about this show and that they can be informed on certain issues and certain things, and they can have a different opinion of what's going on in Rockdale County, because a lot of times it's a one-sided story. So I would like for us to be able to for this to be a multi-sided story, that that we just don't have the takeaway from the county commission and the local government, that citizens also have a point of view and a perspective of what's going on. And all of you guys may not agree with some of the perception that I have, but you know, I'll talk about some things tonight, and I'll say, you know, it's not logical for people to do this or behave this way or make decisions. What would be the logical reason? And you know, if you've got a logical explanation, to put it up there, because some of the decisions that this board of commission makes, you can't explain with logic. You actually can't. You when you look at it and you wonder why they would do it, and you have to speculate, then the speculation isn't good, because it leads one down the path of corruption and graft, and that's, you know, what I believe. And Lisa's got the link up there, guys, for us to be able to vote for Justin. So let's do that. And I think you guys have been sharing and liking the show, and I appreciate that. And it's time to dig into some meat here and talk about some things that are going on in Rockdale County, and we'll recap some things too. One thing I wanted to talk about, it's something that did not go on in Rockdale County, but it went on in Morgan, Newton, Walton, over there, and the JDA, that authority that had approved the Rivian plant. Well, you guys remember a month or so ago when Rockdale County's SPLOST bonds came up, and they had to go before the judge, and the judge had to approve the issuance of those bonds. Well, the same thing had to occur over in Morgan and Walton and Newton counties, and I think Jasper County is also part of that. So one of their judges, just like one of our judges, had to go before them, and they had to approve the issuance of those bonds. Well, that judge has denied the issuance of that bond, and those bonds, put out about a 30-page decision. And some of the key points that judge made regarding that bonding over there was, the judge felt that the stability of the Rivian plant was in question, that the plant from 2009, that Rivian, the company, from 2019 to 2021 has lost substantial money, and that 2022 it is expected to still lose a lot of money. The judge also questioned their ability to actually compete in the automobile market with just being a brand new company and with all the losses that they're taking right now. So this judge did not feel comfortable, and the judge also stated that the judge did not feel that the law was followed by the JDA in the issuance of the bonds. So the judge, you know, a 30-page order against the issuance of the bonds for the JDA, and this puts a big hurt on this JDA and the Rivian plant over there in Morgan, Newton, Walton, Jasper County. Now, Larry Cox, why do you bring up this? I bring this up because we all just went through the process of where Rockdale County and the SPLOST and the judge had to approve the bonds. Well, we got this PFA thing coming up, right? And the judge is going to have to approve the bonds. And right now, we've got a major conflict of interest with a judge approving these bonds. We have Judge Mumford, who is a member of this courthouse task force, who will appoint 2 members of the PFA, and then will be the judge that will approve the bonds. Can you say conflict of interest? That's no wild speculation or anything. That's fact. Our judge, who will be deciding the bonds for the PFA, has clearly stated in the first task force meeting that he owned property in Old Town, and that he wanted that to go there for personal reasons. And what was it would include any other authorities in Georgia as well. So Alex, the judge is exactly right. Hold on a second. let me go here a minute. I'm going to put Alex's comment up here. The judge is exactly right. I've been saying this for a long time. Rivian will only be a small player in a major market if it survives. So yeah, and and the judge, when you look at these bonds being viable, and Rivian was going to be a major player in paying back these bonds. If Rivian tanks, then the JDA is not the entity that's on the hook. It's Jasper, Walton, Newton, and Morgan County. Those will be the entities that will be on the hook for those bonds. So just saying, guys, I mean, when this PFA thing comes about, we as citizens, we're going to need to have to ask that judge that these bond approvals not go before Judge Mumford. And I think what we learned this past time, that as citizens we had the right to petition to be part of the suit. So the next time that when the PFA bonds come before a judge in Rockdale County, I intend to do my homework. I intend to I know an attorney who may take this pro bono for me. I intend to reach out to that individual and see if he will represent me in this bond proceeding for some of the same reasons, because Rockdale County is not stable enough to have these bonds issued. They admitted themselves that they had to raise our taxes by 2 mills to become financially stable enough to be bonds be issued. Those are comments that are attributed directly to Commissioner Doreen Williams. That came out of her mouth, that the county needed to raise those taxes to become financially stable enough to acquire the bonds. That's what she said. So if we're not financially stable enough without that tax increase, we're not sound enough fiscally to be able to get bonding right now. So and we are going to have to significantly increase taxes on the citizens of Rockdale County for the duration of these bonds to pay for them, because the PFA, and as it was stated in the legislation, the PFA will not be responsible for repayment of the bonds. It will be the intergovernmental agreement that is entered to with the PFA, and that will be with the Board of Commission, who will be building the courthouse. So you and I, the taxpayers of Rockdale County, will be the individuals that will be responsible for the repayment of the bonds that the PFA will secure for the county in their intergovernmental agreement. So, guys, I mean, the PFA is a funding mechanism, and you, the taxpayers of Rockdale County, you are the individuals who will be paying for this courthouse. I want to put a comment, and I agree with you 100%, Clayton. Clayton Norwick. I don't feel like that Judge Mumford was on the task force assessing the court. I don't like the fact that Judge Mumford was on the PFA task force assessing the courthouse project. I agree with that 100%. It is terrible that he was allowed to do that, and that it's awful. And Bill Campbell, you are correct too. And we can thank our local legislatures that this creature was created here in Rockdale County. And you can do a lot of research about public facility authorities and such. Most of the time, and actually this is the only time I can find that a facility is being built with a PFA, that whatever the facility is doesn't finance itself and pay for itself through revenue bonds. These will not be revenue bonds that the county will be issuing or BFA will be issuing on behalf of the county with this intergovernmental agreement. So the courthouse will not generate revenue to pay for this entity. And that's the thing about it. But this was a creative way for the county Why did the county go this route? Because if the county would have to have had if they came back to us for general obligation bonds, then we have to vote on it again and approve it per ballot. This commission point blank begged this legislature, do not make this a ballot initiative. Do not put this on the ballot. So this county commission knew that if it went before the citizens of Rockdale County again, the citizens of this county would not approve bonds for a courthouse. They're just not going to. And tell you guys, and this is where I come back to the point to where I ask you, if these three individuals that represent Rockdale County as our county commission were making a reasonable decision, how can you make a reasonable decision to issue bonds for this $100 and some million, which I totally feel is not enough money? They will have to issue additional bonds. This will be close to a $200 million project, which will, at the end of the day, after financing, be a $500 million project. So how can anyone in their right mind think that these commissioners are making an intelligent decision, a rational decision, when they could have built a facility at Parker Road for between $25 and $40 million using SPLOST, and the county citizens be debt free? Now, I'm asking right now, other than these three politicians, or one or more of them, lining their pockets through land acquisition, you give me another reason why these individuals would forego using SPLOST, using property we already own, $25-40 million, and go for a plan that will, at the end of the day, cost you, the taxpayers of Rockdale County, between $300 and $500 million with financing. And that's the reality that we're looking at. At the end of the day, that's what it's going to be. So, guys, let me ask you. Come on. So, people think that my reasoning is not rational, outlandish. I'm not being outlandish or irrational. It's logical. This is logical assumption. Why would anyone in their right mind spend $500 million when you could spend 30 or 40 million? It's because you've got something to gain personally by doing it the crazy way, that you will gain personally. That's why. If someone thinks that I'm wrong, put it up there what you think. Put what you think is going on and why you think such a thing would be. Because I'll tell you what, guys, I do not see that as anything else but the possibility of potential corruption. That's what I see. And I don't think anybody can put something up there and explain this away that I'm actually going to buy, other than these individuals, one or more, will personally gain from this crazy decision. And it is a crazy, irrational decision. And that's what I got. So, guys, listen, that judge that made that decision about the Rivian, that the very same decision could be made about PFA bonds in Rockdale County. The county can't afford that kind of debt. The citizens can't afford that kind of taxation for 40 years, because you got to remember, that debt would be carried for 40 years. The citizens of Rockdale County would be under this high tax levy for 40 years, plus whatever else comes along. It would be, at some point, private home ownership in Rockdale County would be obsolete. The citizens wouldn't be able to own. Just private citizens would not be able to own property in Rockdale County because they would not be able to afford the taxes. It's just the truth. So, guys, that's what I see about that. So, I want to talk about a couple of decisions that this Board of Commission has made this week during the Board of Commission meeting. So, one thing they decided, they're going to spend around $5 million on some sewer projects. So, Bill Campbell's in the room. If he wants to, chime in about some of this, then he can. So, I do know that they were starting to do a study about raising the water and sewer rates again, because they're just coming to the end of those that raise cycle they were in. So I would say that this commission is going to be needing to raise funds, borrow money for these sewer projects, because it'll be $5 million that they just approved. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with this and how this comes about. But because I think it'll end up being additional fees and service charges on Rockdale County residents who are provided sewer and water. That's what's going to happen. You the citizens of Rockdale County, you're going to pay that additional money through fees and charges to Rockdale County RWR. That's how that works. And I would say that they're doing a study right now, and you can see another substantial 6-year increase that they're going to propose that this commission is going to approve, because there's no oversight. There is no Rockdale County Water and Sewer Authority to give oversight and opinion. So this county government, these 3 commissioners, they're going to do that, and that's another fees and more money that's going to come out of you, the taxpayer of Rockdale County's pocket. Then we see that we talked about the SPLOST and why we needed to stop the SPLOST, but the county approved $600,000 for new vehicles for the Rockdale County Sheriff's Department. So they approved 4 2023 Ford Eco Boost Pursuit vehicles for $194,400. They approved 4 2023 Ford Interceptor Pursuit vehicles for $181,277. They also approved 6 Chevy Tahoes for the grand total of $246,468. Now, those Tahoes are usually for individuals who don't do patrolling. They drive, they go over to the ivory tower. So I'm just telling you right now, guys, that's why I feel, that's why I have a hard time with all of the vehicles that the Sheriff's Department gets. I would really like for us to look at, how many of, the crash program, the maintenance program, how long we keep these vehicles in service. Can we extend the life of vehicles just because we have these SPLOST funds? Should we be spending this much money every year out of SPLOST for these vehicles, or should we not make the Sheriff's Department be a little more responsible for those vehicles? At least they're purchasing those vehicles for the Sheriff's Department. So, that's my question. I would really like to know what the vehicle program is at the Sheriff's Department, and if we can't extend the life of some of those vehicles, and especially those Tahoes and vehicles like that. I don't know if those type of vehicles are necessary. They do it. Lisa, they do a bid. There are several vendors that bid. The Tahoes are Chevys, and the 4 Ford Interceptors, and then the Ford EcoBoost. So 8 of the vehicles will be Fords, and 6 of the vehicles will be Chevys, and it's from state-approved vendors. So it's people on the vending list that they purchase these through. So I mean, to me, it's very interesting about this, and I'm concerned about all the money that that we do this through. So it would be very, very interesting to see how we do that and the process. So we really need to pay attention to how our SPLOST funds are spent and what's going on with that. So that would be very interesting as to what we do moving forward with all these things. So I've been watching the chat, and no one has been able to suggest me an alternative reason as to why the Board of Commission would make such an unreasonable decision to build the courthouse in Old Town, spend, with interest spending $300 to $500,000 when they could have done this through SPLOST funds, $25 to $40 million. Done deal. No debt. We own the property. That's what I see, guys. I mean, I see this as corruption. If someone can tell me that's not corruption, then you prove it's not corruption. To me, it's corruption until it's proven not corruption to me, because I see no other reason, no logical reason that this decision is made unless people on that board are benefiting from that decision, because the taxpayers of Rockdale County are not benefiting. And that's the purpose of government and these decisions, is to make decisions that benefit the taxpayers, the individuals who are paying the bill. That's who it should benefit. It should benefit the taxpayers of Rockdale County. And it's not. These decisions do not benefit the people who are paying the bills. And let's be real. We know 2 of the 3 individuals on that commission are not contributing to pay those bills. No matter what the reason is, they do not pay property taxes. They do not pay taxes into the source that will be paying that PFA debt. So that's just a fact. So guys, we need to make some decisions in Rockdale County. 2024 is a looming. 2023, we need to watch what's going on. We need to watch how this county behaves. Just like, the week before when they paraded the Restoration Storehouse nonsense in front of us and tried to make it look like that was the greatest thing since sliced bread was invented. When again, that was one of those irrational decisions that did not benefit the taxpayers of Rockdale County whatsoever. Who did it benefit? Not the taxpayers. A select few individuals benefit from that type of decision, but not the taxpayers in general. And if the taxpayers in general are not the individuals who benefit, then those things should not be done. It's clear as day that the citizens of Rockdale County's needs and desires do not come first with this Board of Commission. So you got some decisions to make, folks, in 2024. Do you continue down the path with these incompetent, irrational thinking leaders, or do we try something new? It's up to you. Continue down the same road with incompetent, irrational thinking leaders, or try something new. I've been on here about a half hour tonight, guys. I am wiped with my schedule this weekend. It just was like crazy. I've been at it since about 6 this morning, and I was at it since about 6 yesterday morning. I am going to go home, and I'm going to relax for probably about a half hour. Then I'm going to go to bed because I need some rest. I thank each and every one of you for joining me tonight. I thank you for sharing and liking this show so that the citizens of Rockdale County can have an alternative viewpoint. Because, like the chairman says, there is misinformation that is being spread in Rockdale County. I agree with the chairman 100%. And the misinformation that is being spread to you, the citizens of Rockdale County, is coming from the county itself. It's coming from the chairman. It's coming from his staff and the other commissioners. That's where the misinformation comes from. 100% correct. We do have misinformation that is being plummeted and just heaved on you, the citizens of Rockdale County. This show and other shows like it, you get an alternative view. If you like that alternative view, then keep continuing and watching this show. Keep sharing and liking this show. Tell your friends about this show so that we can get that alternative view out to the public so that in 2024, a different decision can be made at the election box. Thank you for joining me and have a good night. And I'll see you on Wednesday.